It was the year 1830, and for the first and last time in history, Americans were jumping the border to Mexico. This is the time of death of the Western heroes Davy Crockett and William Travis, the time of the Alamo, the time of the Lone Star Republic. This is the Texas Revolution, in plain English, by Kaitlin, Morgan, Holly, Ling, and Dylan. It started in 1821 when Moses Austin was granted permission by the Mexican government to start a small American colony in Texas. Unfortunately, he died a small time later, but his dream was taken up by his son, Stephen F. Austin. The colony had to follow a few rules. They would have to become Mexican citizens, join the Catholic Church, and learn Spanish. Austin agreed to these terms, and in 1827, Austin and 297 other families moved to Texas. But Texas was too appealing for its own good. By 1830, about 25,000 Americans were living in Mexico, and 4,000 Tejanos, Texans of Mexican descent. Both groups were unhappy. The Americans were upset because they didn't like having to listen to Mexican officials. They also didn't like that all the documents were in Spanish. Plus, they were upset that Mexico had outlawed slavery in 1829. The Tejanos were also unhappy. They complained that the Americans had come without Mexican permission, not to mention the fact that the newcomers had next to no respect for Mexican culture and didn't plan on becoming Mexican citizens. So Mexican officials closed Texas to any more U.S. immigration and sent troops to reinforce the new law. The Americans in Texas despised this law, and led by William Travis, they called for a revolution. Another group led by Austin wanted Mexico to reopen immigration and make Texas a Mexican state so that they could run their own affairs. In 1833, Austin went to speak with the new leader of Mexico, General Santa Anna. The general was a power-hungry tyrant set on gaining complete control over Texas. But when Austin reached the capital, he was thrown in jail by Santa Anna, promoting the rebellion. But when Santa Anna was released, the Texans rose up a revolt, and Santa Anna's army marched up with 6,000 troops determined to crush the Texans. In February 1836, Santa Anna's army reached San Antonio, Texas. The 180 volunteers were protecting an old mission that was called the Alamo. Among them was Davy Crockett, William Travis, and James Bowie. The general demanded surrender, but when Travis answered with a cannon shot, raised a black flag to say, "Expect no mercy." The Alamo was surrounded, but only one man fled. Travis's messengers sent messages begging for help. Travis vowed victory or death, but reinforcements never came. But the rebels held the Alamo for 12 days, the Mexicans pounding it with cannonballs. But tragically, on March 6th, the Mexicans broke through. The rebels tried to hold it with rifles, but in 90 short minutes, it was over. All the defenders were dead. Only the women and children were spared. To Santa Anna, it was a small affair, but his decision to kill all the defenders filled the Texans with rage. The leader of the revolution, Sam Houston, understood the rage, but also knew that his only hope to defeat the Mexicans was to retreat and draw Santa Anna deeper into Texas. The plan worked brilliantly. When Santa Anna arrived near the San Jaco River, the Texans attacked when they were least expecting it. Santa Anna himself went to take a nap, and that was when the rebels attacked. They charged the Mexicans, shouting, "Remember the Alamo." Santa Anna fled, but was captured the next day. In exchange for his freedom, he sent all his troops out of Texas. Texas was his own country, the Republic of Texas. But in 10 years later, in 1845, the U.S. annexed Texas and became the 28th state. This has been the Texas Revolution in plain English.